everyone, and welcome to the My Ray of Sunshine podcast. My name is Mayra, and I'm here to help you receive the advice you deserve. Now, before we begin, can we just please appreciate that this is the 10th episode on my podcast? Like, what? I can't believe it's been 2 months already since I started my very first episode, and I just thought that it was only right to have this episode revolve around what am I doing? Like, it's funny how the first episode was, who am I? And my 10th episode is now, what are you doing? Because I just think that it's so important so that way everyone can see what the purpose of this podcast is, what the heart and soul of this podcast is, beyond just an advice podcast. And I also liked the idea that I could have each one of my 10th episodes to be like a little heart to heart, to make you feel like you know me a little bit better, because yes, I am covering a few of my personal experiences. I am being vulnerable throughout everything, but I just want you guys to continue to get to know me, to not feel like you guys are missing any pieces or that you guys have any questions. Obviously, if you do, please ask me, please, because then I'll be happy to answer it for you. So, to just jump right in. Of course, if you guys are listening to this podcast, you probably wouldn't know what the heck am I doing right now. So, let me just jump right in to answer that question for you. So, what am I doing right now? I know that I initially started this podcast and I wanted to solely revolve around positivity. I wanted to revolve around positivity, motivate others, inspire others, and help, shed the light in many difficult situations that people face. And I just know that there was something beyond that. Like, that was just something that I was used to telling everyone that I was doing. Oh yeah, I'm helping shed the light in difficult situations, just trying to help people along the way, which is definitely one of my missions. Like, it's definitely my mission to help as many people as possible because I genuinely do care. But I just think that it goes beyond that. I just feel like for me, talking about positivity is absolutely the root of my being. Like, is that too weird to say? I feel like I'm getting all choked up just talking about it, but it is just the root of my being. I have always had such a bright outlook of life. Always. And I just feel like no matter anything that I came my way, no matter any situation, I was always with a smile on my face. Sometimes I wonder why to this day because, I didn't have a perfect life, and that's okay. I think that's when people really blossom and grow and really face life in a different way, because it doesn't all come from, a perfect family, like a cookie cutter family, and you have everything you could ever possibly want, and, this is just a bonus. If that's the case, good for you. I applaud you. But, that's not the case for me, and I just feel like it's so inspiring when I meet other people who are also making a difference and learning that they've also had a past that they could, step away from and grow from and truly develop into such amazing individuals in general. And I just find that so incredibly inspiring. And I think that's why I'm also so excited about this podcast too, is because I want to be vulnerable. Like, I want to show you guys that not everything is going to be perfect all the time. Yes, my My Ray of Sunshine podcast may seem like, I'm happy all the time, positivity is always around me, I'm always motivating others, but also a lot of it does come from within too, and I've had bad days. I've had very, very bad days, and I feel like everyone can relate to that too, because no one can really have great days back to back to back to back for so long. Like, there's always going to be a breaking point, and I just feel like it is something that we all need. We all need that breaking point to kind of reflect and make us a stronger individual. Because one thing's for sure, I definitely know that your past never has to define who you are as a person. And I truly do stand by that, like, to this day. So, that's just a little bit of background about what I'm doing. Like I said, talking about positivity has always been the root cause. I have always been very smiley, very eager to help others, but to the point where I'm going above and beyond more than I need to. So here's an example, for instance. Like last week, I was working and a customer told me their life story, and they were going through a really hard time and they were about to break down. And I swear to you, like, I just wanted to hug that poor customer that was going through such a rough time. I was gonna like tell them to listen to my podcast, not to gain another listener, like that's not what I'm all about. It was just for her to have that hope that soon, like if she would have like listened to my podcast or subscribed or whatever, I would have created an episode dealing with grief, dealing with loss, just for her. Like that is what my mentality is all about. I want you guys to know that I do my podcast for you guys. Like, it is for you guys. I have a lot of situations that I can help you in, and of course, I'm so happy to do that. But sometimes it's so hard to piece what comes first. Like, what should my next episode be? What should I talk about? Like, what should I cover? What should I make sure I don't miss? And I just feel like so many of my episodes, the root cause is you guys. Like, you guys are the ones that push me to talking about certain situations, because I get a lot of feedback, and I love the feedback, by the way. But it's just a little bit of a motivator for me to, get in front of the camera and start recording, because I know that, my true listeners are, still supporting me, and it's such a great, great feeling. So yeah, I really do enjoy every aspect of podcasting, because I just think that it allows me to network with a bigger group of people. So if you don't know, from my first episode, I started my podcast because I started doing my live streams on Spoon, which is an application that you can just download, and they have like a live chat going. You can connect with so many people. It's amazing. And the great thing is that the DJs, which are the live streamers, they just have to, talk. They talk, we can play some music in the background to set the mood. But then we're really engaging with everyone within the live chat. So when I first started, I was so nervous to start my very first live stream, let me tell you. I was so nervous. I never thought that I would actually do it, but then I forced myself to get outside of my comfort zone. So, I did it. And I honestly wouldn't be here today talking to all of you. Like, it would be impossible. I would never, ever do this. So, like, once I started live streaming, my whole point was advice. Mostly because I feel like I've gotten the feedback from a few people in the past that I give amazing advice, and it sucks because I can't take my own advice. So, I don't know. I guess I kind of just asked for it. I think it's kind of like a part of life, like you're supposed to, help others, but then, when can you help yourself? So it's, I don't know, something that I have to deal with in my own time. But I really wanted to challenge myself and see how I could help others. But my biggest concern, to be honest, is that I was afraid that people weren't going to join my live streams. I was afraid that they weren't going to, trust that I could give them the help that they needed, um, with my age or whatever. Like, they could only hear my voice, but I do sound young, so I understand. But I wanted them to give me a chance. And I wanted them to confide in me. Like, yes, I'm a stranger, but, how can I win you over? How can I help you and have you open up to me about your crush or whatever you're dealing with? So those were my biggest worries. And that's why, like, when I first started streaming, I'm like, who's actually going to join? I didn't even know what I was doing. Guys, I was streaming for 4 hours straight. And my first night, and the maximum is 2 hours. So I literally have been losing my voice over my live streams on Spoon. And they were so worth it because all the people that I've met, that I've helped with, that have been just so sweet and supportive, really, really were what pushed me to doing a podcast. Because, guys, the things people said, it just melts my heart. Like, I have gotten emotional over all the things that people have told me that I have helped them with, which I didn't even know that I did. Like, it's just those kinds of things where you do something and you hope for the best, and then it turns out that you made such a difference in someone's life, that you helped them, that you were able to be that friend, whereas they didn't have a true friend in their real lives, or they didn't have a family member that they can go to. Like, all those things are, what I thought were so minimal. Like, I'm just live streaming, talking to people, making them feel welcome, and getting to know them. Like, I feel like I know all of them, like, as if I met them in person, which hopefully I will someday. But it's just like an emotional connection that I think is unexplainable. And I think that that is why I really wanted to do this, because I would be able to connect with many, many more people, and I would be able to help people in situations where they have also been stuck in. So what I do is I save my live streams. So if you want to check them out, feel free to do that. I love to save each and every one of my live streams, and you'll be able to see like what situations come up. A lot of the times it can be either really like fun, silly, like a lot of the times we just start talking about food, and then I have to like take a break and, go upstairs, get a bowl of cereal, and then resume to helping other people. But other times it can get really dark, and that's where it affects me a little bit, but I'm trying to work on it. But that's why I feel like I always preach that I'm an empathetic person, because if you cry, I will cry right there with you. Like, I promise you. And I can actually feel people's pain. Like, even if they're sending me cuz the live chat is only via text. So, I'm just reading out what they're saying, and it's, new chats are coming in as another person is sending it. So as I'm reading what people have to say, like, I can feel their hurt, especially when it is a really dark situation. And it does shake me up a bit, and it does sometimes make me have to step away from my phone and step away from the live stream and just kind of like rekindle myself and try to be strong for them. But yeah, it's just such a beautiful connection, and that is why I really enjoyed doing what I'm doing, which is podcasting and talking to all of you. And I know a lot of people who have given me feedback and or who have like mentioned about my podcasting journey, and some of them are people that I've known and went to school with, and they're like, "Wait, you have a podcast now? Like, tell me more about it." And it's funny because I'm sure they're surprised, and mostly because I was actually really shy, and I didn't really want to put myself out there. I never wanted to have attention on me. Like, I was just like, I'm fine with just going with the flow. I don't need anyone to, be all in my face, or I don't need to be in anyone's face. But then here I am promoting my podcast left and right, being in everyone's faces, and that is something that I'm not used to doing. But hey, I mean, if you don't like it, you can unfollow me, but hopefully you don't. But it's just like, I get why people are confused on why the heck I started podcasting. I mean, never would have thought that I would ever podcast. But at the same time, I think mostly it's because of the connection that I've built with people and how I see it more than just podcasting. Truly. Like, I see it more than just talking to people and giving them advice. And I know a lot of the stuff that I have covered so far. Some have been very serious, where I've been very vulnerable, which was the one with anxiety. That episode was really hard to record, and also I had to record it twice because of tech issues, but let's not talk about that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it can be either very, very difficult for me to record, or then it's like something fun that I'm just like helping you guys ask out a crush, like things like that. I don't know. It's a mixture, it's a variety. I just go with the flow, and I just kind of see what topics I can cover. And, I don't want to get too dark too soon, so that's also something to keep in mind. But yeah, I do understand why people are confused that why am I podcasting? And the reality is it's more than podcasting for me. Like I mentioned, it's more than just helping people. It's about inspiring people. I think it's also about making that difference that people need to have in their lives. Just making a shift in their perspectives and making them feel more confident, and just like having them know their worth. And I do have to thank my mom for all of that, because before I started giving advice, she would give me advice, and her advice I still have to this day. So it's just things that I have learned from her, that based on like what she has told me in the past and what has helped me remind myself of who I am, especially when I needed it the most. Like growing up, I was like always so insecure, especially in high school. It was just chaos. But, then I have my mom that's like, hyping me up. She's my hype girl. And then I'm like, wow, it makes sense. I love the love that she's showing. Like, I love the fact that she's able to tell me how it is, and, not be afraid to tell me when I'm wrong. And that's something that I always admire from her. And that is something that I hope to bring to my podcast to all of you, is that, I will be your hype girl. Like, I will try to motivate you and push you into things that like you have never even thought of. Usually when I do get advice, it is mainly just me helping them, but I just go on and on and on. Like, ask any one of my fans. I literally will take forever just to answer a question, which leaves me to fall behind on the live chat each and every time. But it's only because, like, I know that when people are joining my live streams, I know that they're vulnerable and they really want help, and they want to figure out what they can do in their situations. And I'm not just going to give them a 2-second answer. Like, I just feel like they deserve more. And that's what I do. I give more and more and more. And yeah, I just really love people. I don't know why, but I do. And when I tell everyone that I'm a people person, they just look at me and they're like, really? People are like what I avoid. And I'm just like, I can't relate. I can't relate. Like, I will just try to go above and beyond for someone. And, I take that as a really, really great quality to have. Just because I am able to connect with people on a more deeper level rather than just scratching the surface. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. I pretty much have so many big plans on my podcast. Clearly, I have just started, video podcasting, which in the sense is recording my podcast, putting that out there so that way you can see what's happening for each and every one of my episodes, kind of behind the scenes. And I never thought I would do video before, but I wanted to be active on my YouTube channel. So, I took a leap of faith and I did it. I figured it out with all technology stuff, which I still have to learn to deal with technology because, yes, it's great, it's fantastic. But when it doesn't go your way, it can kind of like mess everything up. But yeah, it's a love-hate relationship, mostly love. But, at times I do really, really hate it because it can really be so difficult. But anyway, yeah, I just started video podcasting, which I'm enjoying. It's a learning process. And I just feel like I'm constantly learning. Like, guys, I still didn't finish 1, 2, 3 of my podcasts. No, not my podcast. I still haven't finished 3 of the courses that I have signed up for. And these courses are supposed to be beneficial to me in various ways. One of them was video podcasting, which I should have probably finished before I jumped into it, but I was just like, I'm excited, let's just go for it. So yeah, that's why I'm here. But yeah, there's just so much that I have in store for the My Ray of Sunshine podcast, and I'm actually so excited. Like, I can't wait for you guys to actually know everything that I'm working on. Obviously, I do have to keep things, a little bit of a surprise, but hopefully it's all worth it. And I'm just excited because I feel like I just experienced so much heartache, not in a sense like relationship wise, but just like with careers. So since this is a heart to heart, in my first episode I talk about how I left a job because it was very toxic, and I was unemployed for a while, and right now I'm working part-time, which is fine, but like I just feel like I have gotten to the point where it's hard for people to actually believe in me, as sad as that sounds. And like it's like I'm never good enough. And it's just like, okay, you don't have experience. Okay, I don't have experience because you're not hiring me, so hire me so I can get the experience. But like that's not how the life works. And it just sucks that sometimes you can't really control any exterior factors. You can't really control any of that, and you kind of just have to, cross your fingers. But you know what? Like, I'm done with crossing my fingers, to be honest with you. Like, I just feel like I know my worth. Like, if no one else does, I do. And I'm just tired of feeling like a job is supposed to represent who you are as a person, like how much worth you have. And it's actually really sad. Like, you can't think that way. And I did for the longest time. Like, I'm so guilty of that because I would think to myself, like, wow, I'm unemployed. I'm worth nothing because no one is giving me a chance. But then you kind of have to see the other side, like the other perspective, and really realize that, you know, maybe it was just supposed to happen this way. Maybe I was just supposed to have like a really, really rocky post grad experience. And for those of you who don't, shout out to my boyfriend. Congrats to you. But like, it's so difficult for me and a few of the people that I've also talked to about this. Like, you know, some people just get lucky, you know, and that's fine. But now I'm at the point where, you know, I don't want people to kind of give me a shot. Like, I don't want to continuously put myself out there and then be let down and then be mortified, because that's how it was every time, especially like during such a long time of being unemployed. I was just like, I didn't get the job. What the heck? Why can't I get that job? Like, what do they not see in me? Like, how do they not see potential? And it would just suck because I feel like I have proven to myself during this podcast that I'm very, very hardworking. And I am really tough on myself, which actually is a good thing, I feel like. But also, it needs to have its, you know, it needs to have its limit. Like, it has to have the limit. There has to be a line. That's what it is. There needs to be a line where I can't really, you know, push myself too hard. Like, I have to give myself a break sometimes and cut myself some slack and not try to, like, be a cookie cutter within my own podcast, because I tend to be doing that a lot. So it's just a lot of learning experiences that I have had just with this podcast alone. But if anything, it has taught me that, you know, I'm really tough on myself, but also I'm training myself to grow. Like, I'm allowing myself to continuously spread myself a little too thin sometimes, but that's not what I was gonna say. I actually was gonna say I continuously do try to talk to people that have similar mindsets as I do, and I'm trying to like get back into reading and read a good book and like really train my mind. And I'm just working on a lot of inner work and then outer work from what you guys are seeing. And a lot of that is rewarding to me. I know that, you know, this is only the beginning. So you guys still have so much more to enjoy, so much more that is coming your way. And I'm excited for it all. Like I said, I can't spoil any surprises, but I do have like a book filled of stuff that I need to do. And speaking of book, that is also something that I want to do a little later on once I get this groove of podcasting, but yeah, I am just really excited for what's to come. I hope you guys can stay with me during this journey and like support me as well, watch me grow, like help me grow too. I love when there's engagement, especially with my posts. Like, I love all the comments that I read, and it just means a lot to me, and it makes me feel like I am on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. I'm sorry, I'm also very cheesy. But anyway, a few of the lessons that I've learned from trying to decide what the heck I'm doing has honestly been that there needs to be more kind people in this world. And I know that that's kind of like, you know, probably not what you were expecting me to say, but I just feel like people just need to be kinder human beings, because like I mentioned earlier, when I started my live streams, I have gotten such great feedback from people that didn't even feel welcome in their own homes, and them hearing me, how upbeat I was, how welcoming I was, and how supportive I was about everything that they're doing and all the decisions that they're making. Like, I just feel like they didn't have that. And for them, just my presence was enough. And yes, it is very like heartwarming and flattering as well to hear those things, and it's just like so sweet, and I never would have expected that. But it also made me realize that why aren't people being so welcoming? Like, why are people not giving off that energy? Like, because I'm doing nothing but being myself. Like, I never, you know, enhance my mood or whatever. Like, I'm always completely myself, and how I talk to you is like I talk to anyone else. So it just breaks my heart that like people just don't feel supportive, whether it's with friends, family, like the list goes on, and it just sucks. It sucks that like me just being nice is all that they need to keep pushing. Like I said, it is really sweet, but I just feel like more and more people need to be that way. And especially what's going on in this world right now. Like, not really the quarantine, but just the whole situation on what's been going on, the violence, racial discrimination. Like, it's heartbreaking. It really is so heartbreaking because we have to realize that at the same time, the United States is like a melting pot. We're all supposed to be here from different backgrounds, and we're all supposed to just blend in and welcome each other within. You know, like we're all living in the same country, so might as well just be supportive of one another. And it sucks that it hasn't been that way. And when everything was going on with the protesting and how just everything that was happening, it was just really, really dark, and it really got me thinking how this is our life right now. Like, it's our life, and we just kind of have to make it a better place and educate others in the process, because like I don't even know. It's just really heartbreaking, and I just feel very upset for what happened, but I would hope that everyone can support Black lives. We all need to come together as a country and make the difference. And also, like, when everything was happening too, like the protesting, everything, I was even reflecting on what our Pledge of Allegiance is. And one of the lines that stood out to me was, "One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." And where's the justice? Like, where's the justice for every Black person that has been killed and they weren't even the problem? It's just so devastating, and that's why I feel like people just need to be kinder. Like, everyone needs to be more accepting of everyone. Like, not just for Black lives, but for the LGBTQ plus community. Like, just absolutely everything. The list goes on, and there's always discrimination. And I even heard someone at work say, not someone at work, but, one of the customers say that, like, we're in America. Why do people need to speak Spanish? Because of the self-checkout, they had the options of various different languages that you could choose from. And I'm just thinking, what do you mean? Like, we're in America, yes, which is great because we are given so many opportunities, but it shouldn't mean that we can't embrace our roots, that we have to be ashamed of the color of our skin or where we come from, and that we feel the need to hide it or try to blend in. Like, it's just not making sense. And that's what podcasting taught me, at least, because there's just so much going on, and I feel like I need to be the voice for things as well. And of course I want to stand up for everyone's rights, and we should all try to work together to make that difference as well. But yeah, just people need to be kinder. And another lesson that I've learned is that, like, sometimes we expect to know everything that is going to happen. We expect to have a plan on how things are going to go. We at least try to have as much control of our lives as possible, because we don't really have as much control, like, to hire us for a job, or to have like millions of subscribers. Like, we don't have really that much control over how many people watch, how many people listen, what employers are doing, like all of that aspect. But what we do have control over is the fact that, we can just embrace not knowing. We can embrace the unknown. We don't have to fully know what everything means in our life right now, where we're going in our life right now. And I read that from one of the books, Extraordinary Outcomes. And, I cried. I cried in that chapter, because chapter 4, because it was just so powerful. It impacted me in a certain way, because I feel like all my life I have tried to have like a timeline of what happens when, and what is supposed to happen by this time. Like, all these expectations are not always going to go the way that you want it to go. And it's just a matter of you embracing that. It's okay to not know. But one of the quotes from the book was that you are always on the right track. And I read that when I was unemployed, and I was like, wow, like, I'm supposed to be figuring myself out right now. Like, it's okay that I'm going through this, because I know that people have been unemployed, people are unemployed, people will be unemployed. Like, all these things are going to happen, and you have no control over it. So it's just a matter of realizing that you don't really have that control, and just trying to make the best out of every situation. And, stopping yourself from feeling a certain way just because, of your status, whatever that means. Like, whether you have a good job, whether you don't, like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like, it really doesn't matter. Especially if you know in your heart that you have big plans or a big vision on what you want. Like, you just kind of have to be persistent and keep going. Literally keep going. Keep taking that risk. Keep taking more risks after that. Like, it's just all a matter of embracing uncertainty. And I think that we just need to do that. We all need to embrace it. And, I'm continuously trying to, engrave that in my mind and really grasping that. But I just think that no matter what, like, we're always on the right track, and, it's okay to have blanks, because things will start to fall together and things will just start making sense. And the rest is history. The rest is history. Everything happens for a reason. And I know for a fact that, I needed to be unemployed for a while, for many, many months, to finally be here talking to all of you. And it makes me feel calmer now that I know that only I can determine my future. Like, I can determine the outcome of my future, not anything else or anybody else. Like, I feel like I have a stronger sense of the control that I've been wanting to get all along, the clarity of what I've wanted, and that's why I get excited and, just hope for the best for my podcast, because, it's just going to go beyond that. Like, I'm here to, yes, talk to you, but I'm also here to hopefully make a difference and try to connect with you in a deeper level, more personal level. And yeah, so I really hope this podcast made you smile at least once. Stay tuned for more advice and positivity next Friday. As always, it's Mayra. I hope everyone enjoys their day. I hope you make the best of it. And I also hope that you feel like, you can come to me for advice, and that you feel like you know me, and that you know the core of this whole podcast that you're listening to or watching. If you're watching, make sure to subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, comment down below what you learned about me, what you want to know about me. Just feel free to comment down below and talk to me about absolutely anything. Connect with me also on my social media platforms. I'm extremely, extremely active on my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on my website as well. So just check me out. Bye!